everyone's always talking about having like fucked up kind of luck and all that kind of shit. And, I've always been able to tell everyone, that, man, I've got the most crazy fucked up luck that I think I've ever met in anybody. They're talking about crazy girlfriends and all that shit. Well, yeah. Remember, I was younger. I was before I even met my first wife and all that. And I was dating this one chick that I thought she was just the coolest whenever I was in school. And she ended up getting kicked out of school. And it wasn't too long after that, I ended up going out and, kind of getting kicked out of school myself. And anyways, yeah, man, she ended up cheating on me. And so, yeah, we kind of went our separate ways. And, it wasn't even like one of those crazy things to where it was like, she was cheating on me behind my back and all that shit. Like, she didn't give a fuck. Like, she would do it right there in front of you. And, yeah, so finally one day I was just like, okay, I've had enough. I thought that the girl was beautiful and she was just the coolest thing in the world, but there's only so much, shit that I'm going to be able to take. So, anyways, yeah, I ended up leaving her and going, my own separate ways and stuff. And I actually got back with one of my ex-girlfriends. And, yeah, she ended up showing up over at, at her house and, talking about whoop her ass and all sorts of shit. And anyway, I finally had to break it down to her, dude, you cheated on me, and, I at least had enough decency to, break up with your ass and then, start seeing someone else and all that. Anyway, so they didn't end up fighting or anything and, kind of went out their separate ways. Well, this is years later, and I ended up seeing this news report and shit, and her and her significant other, I don't remember if they were married or if they were just boyfriend and girlfriend, but either way, they went and robbed a bank. And you think that's bad, but the story's going to get a lot worse because, and I know a lot of you are sitting there thinking, like, how in the fuck can it get any worse? Like, you dated a chick that robbed a bank. But it does. So they robbed the bank, and actually they were, like, free and clear. Like, they got away with it. And really what got them caught was the fact that, I guess, during their master plan, behind robbing this bank and shit, like, I guess the guy, he decided that, it wasn't worth like the chances with being with her and being, like part of that shit. So he was planning on taking the money and running. She shot him, like she shot and killed him, and ended up going to prison for that. So, I sit back and think all the time, it's just like, man, there's a lot of these situations to where, like, I'm really glad I'm not in them, or like that could have been me. I don't really think that would have conned me into robbing a bank, maybe. But, that's just some wild and crazy shit right there. And to top that off, yeah, she sent me a friend request on Facebook about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. I was like, I shouldn't accept it, but I accepted it. And then I ended up getting a message, and I was like, don't read it. And, of course, curiosity killed the cat. Like, I had to go and check it out, so I clicked on it and all that shit. And she sent me a message and shit talking about, like, how cute she thought I was and like how we should talk and all that. Like, she completely forgot the fact of like who the fuck I actually even was and the fact that we'd even dated like any time before. And I really came close to like not responding back at all, and that probably would have been my better solution because of the fact that that now I'm in a conversation with her, but the more I thought about it, I was like, man, if I don't respond, Facebook it tells people like that you've read their message. So anyways, I just kind of politely said, I'm married, and besides that, we've tried that shit before, we've dated before, and yeah, it didn't work out, you cheated on me and all that. And she literally types me back and just says, oh, sorry, and like I never heard back from her again. So either way, so anytime you think you've been through some crazy ass shit, yeah, just remember, it could always be worse. But honestly, really, you sit back and think about that, like, how fucked up could you have possibly been? Like, how bad could you have possibly been to end up in that kind of situation? Like, who really ends up dating someone that robs a bank, much less, shoots their accomplice and shit? Like, that's some shitty ass luck right there. Like, I don't know. I must have, in another life, like, spanked baby Jesus or something. That's just unheard of, from pretty much anybody in the norm, or at least the normal groups that I hang out with anyway. I definitely know there's a lot of people out there going, that's not too fucked up luck. It could have been you. It was me. It was my childhood. Like, I just got my childhood like taken from me right there. Like, you know, you go back and you always think about all these different people that you dated and talked to, and these different, you know, things that you've kind of taken on in life, and then, you know, it comes back to that. Like that was my choices back then. Like that's the best that I could do. Like I don't know. And then it circles back around about fucked up luck. I mean, hell, it goes back to my choices. Like, I mean, I don't know, like how in the hell did I circle around and make that kind of choice? But I guess it's better to have made that choice back then than, you know, later, because it didn't work out for the guy for the whole later thing. So glad we got past, you know, a little bit of all that. You can just see it now, you know, like sitting there at grocery stores and all that shit, and like having to try to send signals and shit where it's like she can't see it and all, trying to like catch people's attention, like, help me. And then, you know, people are over there like, what the fuck? You know, I mean, yeah, that's just different things that I'm really glad that didn't make it into my adulthood and kind of got left back in my childhood. So, it's definitely one of those things that, yeah, I think kind of tops off all these stories that I've ever heard as far as like crazy ex-girlfriends